don't know what to expect this weekend, if I'm really honest, with the more straights or longer straights.
Lewis Hamilton warned everyone this would happen. Then Charles Leclerc's own lap time got deleted, and Ferrari's championship weekend split in two. The warning nobody wanted to hear. Before a single lap was driven at Spa, Hamilton already knew. On Thursday's media day, he told reporters straight,
"Time to really crack the whip and do better."
This track is difficult because there are lots and lots of straights. He wasn't being dramatic. Spa is close to 50% full-throttle straights, the run to Eau Rouge, the Kemmel Straight, the blast from Stavelot to the bus stop. That matters because of how the 2026 power units are built. 47% of the power now comes from the MGU-K, the electric motor that boosts speed on straights, 53% from the combustion engine. Mercedes built the strongest package under that formula. Ferrari didn't. Hamilton put a number on it. At Silverstone, Ferrari was giving up 3 to 4 tenths a lap to Mercedes in a straight line. At Spa, he expects that gap to grow. So going into Friday, the question wasn't whether Ferrari would struggle. It was how much.
Lewis Hamilton was P4, sandwiched between the Red Bulls.
If you want to know whether Ferrari's straight-line deficit actually shows up in qualifying tomorrow, subscribe. I'm covering Belgian GP Quali live as it happens. FP1 Said One Thing.
But love this track. Weather's great, and I'm really proud of the team and the incremental steps that we're taking.
Then FP1 happened, and for a moment, the warning looked wrong. Max Verstappen topped the session at 147.070. But right behind him, Hamilton, just 0.145 seconds back, and Leclerc in third, only a tenth further off. Ferrari split the two Red Bulls. On paper, that's the strongest opening session Ferrari has had at a power-hungry circuit all season. Hamilton had traffic on his first soft tire run, lost half a second, then found a clean lap and jumped to P2 anyway. Leclerc backed him up, just 0.062 seconds behind his teammate. For 1 hour, it looked like Ferrari had closed the gap, but here is what nobody is saying yet. FP1 times are set on low fuel, fresh tires, banzai laps. They don't tell you what happens over a race stint on a track that punishes power deficits lap after lap after lap. FP1 was the illusion. FP2 was the reality check.
Charles Leclerc didn't make it onto the first page of the timing sheets, P11 for his efforts this session.
Then Leclerc disappeared. FP2 flipped the story completely. Kimi Antonelli went fastest at 145.944, over a second and a half clear of the Friday pack. Hamilton held on respectably in P4, 7 tenths back. But Leclerc dropped to P11, outside the top 10, behind Behrman, behind Bortoleto. The reason wasn't pure pace. His best lap was deleted for exceeding track limits. But here's the detail that matters for Sunday. Leclerc reportedly gave more attention to race pace and long-run work in that session, rather than chasing a clean, qualifying-style lap. Ferrari's own data from Friday showed his long run was over 3/4 of a second slower per lap than Hamilton's long run. Hamilton's long-run pace was actually the more solid of the two Ferraris closer to the frontrunners than his grid position suggests. So the picture splits in two. One Ferrari driver arrives at Saturday with a clean qualifying read. The other arrives with a deleted lap, an unclear picture, and a longer to-do list overnight. But that was just the start.
But then in terms of confidence to work, so it's past few days to try and understand first.
The real problem isn't the driver, because underneath both Ferrari cars is the same issue Hamilton flagged on Thursday, and it's not going away by Saturday morning. Spa's 5 straight mode activation zones create something teams call super clipping, when the battery runs out of boost before the next braking zone. The battery charges under braking. Spa doesn't give you enough braking zones to recharge it. Ferrari's weaker combustion side means their MGU-K has to work harder to compensate and runs out of deployment sooner than Mercedes does. That's not a setup problem Ferrari can fix overnight in the garage. That's a power unit problem, and it was already costing Ferrari roughly 8 tenths in a straight line back in Australia and China. 3 scenarios for Saturday and Sunday. 1. Hamilton's long-run strength holds. Leclerc cleans up his lap in FP3, and Ferrari locks out the second row behind Mercedes and Verstappen. 2. Leclerc's Friday confusion carries into qualifying, and Ferrari ends up split across the grid, costing them a shot at a genuine 1-2 fight. 3. The super clipping issue proves too costly in race trim for both cars, and Sunday becomes damage limitation rather than a title fight statement. Hamilton's own words from Thursday, "It's time to really crack the whip and do better." That's not panic. That's a 7-time champion who has already done the math on this circuit and knows exactly what's coming.
96 points over the last 5 races. That is more than any other driver. 5 times a winner here. He has a good chance of making it half a dozen come Sunday, given that form.
What Saturday has to answer? Here's the one-sentence version. Hamilton called the problem before it happened, and Friday proved him partly right and partly wrong at the same time. Right about the gap to Mercedes. Wrong about which of his own teammates would feel it worse. So here's the question. For the comments, does Ferrari need Leclerc to be sharp in FP3, or does Hamilton's long-run pace matter more once Sunday actually starts? If this gave you a new read on Ferrari's Friday, you'll want to be here for qualifying, because Spa has a habit of rewriting the story overnight.